Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning, just a little bit before noon. It's been about a month since I've done a video, and I apologize for that, but that's the way it goes sometimes. The last video that I did was on PTSD, my experience with it, my official diagnosis. And before I get going, I want to go on record again just to say that I am in no way a therapist. Um, and I cannot give anybody any mental health help except to say that I am one example of a first responder who's been formally diagnosed with PTSD and severe depression, and hopefully that my example will make other coppers or other first responders, firefighters, paramedics, nurses, what have you, have a relatable experience or story that catches somebody's attention, and it benefits in such a way that it says, okay, so here's this guy who's for the majority of his career worked the streets in uniform, and he's experienced a lot of the same things that I have, and he's still moving forward. That is my, aside from getting things off my chest and helping myself get healthier by telling my story, that is the sincere goal that for those of you that watch, that I hope that these videos bring to you. And so yes, it's still me. I think the last time that I had done, I had still had the crazy old man hair. I'm still a crazy old man, but at least now I am somewhat more handsome and clean looking. But it was fun doing that for a while, but then it got to be a pain in the ass, and so my wife gave me a couple of very stylish haircuts, as you can see. So I will talk about depression, but again, everything I say is my experience and my diagnosis of it. It's in by no way or means a commentary on how depression affects everybody or the treatment that they get for it. We all have for those of us who are frontline first responders, for all the things that we see over decades of service, of course it fucks us up in different ways, and some of us more so than others, some of us differently. Many of us have all the same coping mechanisms, like glug 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 and or whatever tickles your fancy, and then some of us are just better able or better adapted to pushing forward through and continuing to function as we should in our jobs, despite all the horrible things that are stored in the back of the old hard drive. And for me, I never associated any of those experiences, like infant deaths, infant autopsy, or horrible related scenes, or painful calls, or frustrating, angering calls involving children. A lot of the memories that were playing back in my head while I was sitting there in the hospital counting the holes in the ceiling tiles, I never associated any of those things with depression. And a lot of those things, of course, when you hear them, they might sound like to you, or to most people, that's post-traumatic stuff. But a lot of that shit, of course, makes you sad. Or this sadness about the circumstances that you bore witness to, or sadness that you can't do a fucking thing about it after a couple of decades and then some. But they also, for me, they had a way of inhibiting my ability to feel happy. And I'll try to kind of address it so it makes sense. Obviously, it was way harder to be happy while I was in hospital because I fucking hated it, and because it was literally depressing to be there, knowing that had become my home, and that daily life and all the things about it, that was my reality, my new reality. I just fucking hated it. Um, but here was a first, I don't know if sober is the best word, but that time in the hospital was, I guess I can't say sober because the opiate painkillers were pretty heavy. I don't know that they contributed to any of the symptoms or feelings I was having, but of course that could very well be a factor. Check with a real science doctor on that one to see how that might affect you in combination with any of the things about your lifestyle. But for me, it was just so goddamn depressing to know that every day was the fucking same. Even though I was doing things, like when I had started my rehab physio for the last couple of months, or several weeks that I was in the hospital, going out of my room and doing something physical to progress forward, I still felt sad because every day was the fucking same. And even though I had, at that point, I had a goal in mind sometime after Christmas or sometime after New Year that I was going home, I couldn't do a thing to change my current circumstances. Which is fucking hard to accept. No matter what I did, or what positive mindset or positive main headspace I tried to have through talking to the psych nurse, through being thankful for the things I could still do, for being thankful for my family and friends who came to see me every day, who helped and tried to get me to see the positive side. I had a real hard time just generally being happy, which is weird. I guess in some ways, because before that, before the collision and the aftermath and the change and that it made in me physically and mentally, I could do things to make me happy, even if they were just little things or short temporary things to numb or block out the pain, like edibles or drinking beers and whiskey every day, because those things blot things out. It's not the healthiest, even in moderation, way of numbing things, but it was effective. So I was faced with the inability to coping mechanisms. That's a fucking word or phrasing. Oh. Sorry, Frankie. Hey, it's all right, bud. He's a fine guard dog until you get in the door, and then he starts kissing you. But anyway, as I was saying, I couldn't do the normal things I would do to cope with just feeling sad. And I was never someone who regularly felt unhappy, because I had a wonderful life at home. I had a trailer to go to during the summertime. It's my quiet place to unwind. I had 2 wheels to hop on when I needed some wind therapy. So I couldn't treat myself as I always had. And so when I would have moments of either inexplicably feeling sad, or sad not knowing what was going to happen the next day or when I would be home, and I just literally had to sit there and eat it, which I'm sure in some way, shape, or form for a certain amount of time, we all feel that way too. Like, what can I fucking do? But the point is to have something, whether it's that you can do to get that out of your head, even if only for a little while. And that can be playing guitar, that can be listening to music, that can be going for a ride on 2 wheels and just fucking zoning out for a couple hours. It can be going to the gym and lifting weights, healthy, good options. And of course, having a couple of beers every once in a while with friends around a plate full of fucking chicken wings or by the campfire. All those things are so important upstairs. But I knew that even once I got out of the hospital and when I got home, life wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't have all my usual coping mechanisms. So after I got home, and then got used to being back home again, which is weird, but I did it, and not on my own, acknowledging the wonderful help of everybody, family and friends. I started to settle back into a normal new routine of life. But I didn't have my trailer to go to, didn't have my bike to ride anymore. And so I needed to keep myself busy with positive things that made me happy. Well, these three things, through the encouragement of family and friends, and the gift of friends, two of whom are both guitarists, that was one small thing, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, something positive and creative where I can improve my mood. It's wonderful. Most people that know me, I've always loved cooking and been pretty good at it too. But I also needed something else creative that I could do. I fucking love desserts. I have a sweet tooth. And unfortunately, I took up baking, much to my demise, I guess. Not all growth is positive. But I took up baking, and it got me out of, it's a simple fucking thing, right? So basic. But it got me out of my comfort zone, doing something new, something that I enjoyed, and something that I could share with others. And while that doesn't completely cure depression, regardless of how bad you've got it or why, it is a positive, creative thing. And it worked for me. And I fucking love it. And I'm getting good at some shit too. Doing some things that are way out of my comfort zone, but a lot of fun and enjoying the process. And each one of those things, a couple of times a week, are a huge boost for a good mood. And so guitar and baking are, and I keep up a regular, not daily, with baking anyway. I barely miss a guitar playing every day, but baking at least a handful of times a week. And although it may look like I sometimes eat it all, a lot of my good family, or a lot of my good friends and family get the share. And just doing something like that, calling your, calling up an old partner and while they're on duty and having them stop by and eat a piece of carrot cake because they love it. Like it seems simple and insignificant when you spell it out like that, but it ain't. Every visit with people is a positive to plus. It's a thing that I appreciate. And then, although it's harder in for some things, like getting outside in the winter months, for me, that's why every opportunity I get, spring, summer, and fall, get outside and go for a fucking ride in the wheelchair. That ride in the wheelchair is also a difficult daily reminder of one thing that I used to do all the time, and that's walk in the neighborhood, walk through the park, walk in the trails along the river with my dog. So it's still a gut punch, having to accept that, and but changing just by getting outside, having a different view of the TV or the screen or my phone or my backyard, getting outside and moving. Even though the wheelchair is doing the moving. 15 minutes, half an hour. It's not as good as popping a gummy, but it it is so good to get out, get some fresh city air, some fresh Seine River air, and some sun. 10 minutes of sunshine. Sitting in the backyard and getting 10 minutes of sunshine. And getting this lovely tan that you see here. The arms, legs, they're not the color of a pickerel's belly at all. But no, all those stupid little things that you think any dime store therapist, podcaster could tell you. There's good ones out there, of course. I'm not shitting on all podcasters. But all those little things are daily things, routine things, activities of daily living that make a difference. I'm doing them, and they help. And on days where I don't, I might not feel horrible, but I feel better. So it makes a difference. And I guess I just can't say it enough or bring it home enough or whatever the cool expression is nowadays, to tend to be fairly trendy and hip, as everyone knows. All those little things every day, every little bit makes a difference. And for me, fighting depression and feeling sad, if I don't do those things, I know I'll be worse. So you might find you're the same way too, no matter who you are or what's bothering you. I think the last thing I kind of want to talk about, because I'm getting close to the 20-minute mark now, is how, I don't know how it is for other first responders like firefighters or paramedics. I think they tend to be more sympathetic or empathetic than most of us cops are. Whenever we hear that, it's usually with some sort of MHA call or some 9906 or somebody that we think is just the biggest fucking whining pussy ever that we have to take to the hospital and babysit because they can't unfuck their own lives. And of course, we all know dozens of people that we regularly, and other crews regularly see, that is a fucking fact, Jack. It's true. We deal with those people. Shit, I forgot where I was going with this, but so there is that, and I used to think that it was a sign of weakness or a sign of system abuse. It's not always the case. And though I still know that everyone that's still out there working the street encounters those people that are doing it for the wrong reasons, to get attention, to get treatment or to gain something from the system. Just remember that from time to time, and you might not always be able to recognize it yourself, there will be a genuine person out there who just can't help feeling sad or feeling down. And they also can't fucking explain it. I know I'm not the only one, but I know what that feeling is like. It takes some time, at least a handful of years, to recognize those who aren't genuine and who abuse the system. But never forget that at some point in your career, you're going to run into someone who you may or may not, but probably won't be able to relate to and they express those feelings. So if you're not sure, if you don't have prior history or contact with that person, or other crews don't, as much as it's a pain in the ass, take the time to get them the help that they need. And I'm sure after a while you'll be able to figure out who those in need truly are. And yeah, it's not, and it shouldn't be our fucking job to look after them, but we're going to come into contact with those people. Guaranteed. So get them the help that they need. Even if you don't like it. Even if you think, I would rather fucking be doing something else. Well, wouldn't we all? But But the ones that truly need it, if you get them the help, they and their family members won't forget it. And if you're the one who needs that help, talk to your behavioral health unit. Talk to a peer support person. Talk to somebody you absolutely fucking trust. And let them know that you're having a hard time. Even if it just starts with just that statement. Even if you're not sure why. Talk to them. Get it out. And deal with it so that you can forge ahead and be solid at work, to work hard, to be productive, to have fun, and to already prepare yourself for the day where you're no longer on the street, where you've hung up your duty belt, so that you're already geared ahead of time for what might come. And what might come is that detachment, that sense of loss from no longer being around the guys and the gals, and that sense of purpose. Because those are things that hugely affected me and still do. Not every day, but they still do to this day. They affect how good I feel about myself and how involved I am and whether or not I matter. There's so much more about this topic, about depression, that I need to talk about, and I will. And I'll try to frame it more in more of what I did or what I need to do, what might help other guys and gals on the job and other first responders. But if you're having a hard time at work with respect to the similar kinds of feelings, get it looked after for yourself, for your friends and your family. I hope what I said today helps. I love you guys. Look after yourselves, look after one another, and enjoy your days off more than your days at work. See ya.